Imagine pulling into your quiet suburban driveway after a long day, only to find your prized 1965 Ford Mustang, a gleaming relic of American muscle, restored with your own hands, vanishing before your eyes. A tow truck hauls it away, chains rattling like a thief in the night, all because of one woman's unchecked entitlement. Her name? Karen, the self-appointed queen of the Homeowners Association. But this isn't just about a car. It's about hidden prejudices bubbling to the surface, turning a simple parking spot into a battlefield of injustice. What if fighting back could expose the truth and deliver a massive win? Stick around. You won't believe how it unfolds. Michael had always been the type to pour his heart into the things he loved. His 1965 Ford Mustang was more than metal and chrome. It was a symbol of resilience, pieced together over years in his garage, its engine purring with the echoes of late-night wrench turns and dreams deferred. He'd moved into the upscale suburban neighborhood a few years back, drawn by the promise of community and stability. The houses lined up neatly, manicured lawns stretching like green carpets under the sun. But beneath the surface, the Homeowners Association ruled with an iron fist, enforcing rules that seemed arbitrary at best. Karen lived just a few doors down, the kind of neighbor who patrolled the streets like a vigilant hawk, her eyes sharp for any deviation from her vision of perfection. She chaired the HOA meetings, her presence commanding, always quick to point out infractions, a mailbox slightly askew, a hedge overgrown by an inch. But with Michael, it felt different, more personal. His Mustang, parked neatly in his driveway, became her fixation. She'd glance at it from her window, her lips tightening, as if its very existence disrupted the harmony she guarded so fiercely. One crisp autumn morning, Michael returned from work to an empty spot where his car should have been. Confusion twisted into dread as he spotted the faint tire marks on the pavement, evidence of something gone horribly wrong. Whispers from neighbors hinted at Karen's involvement. She'd been seen making calls, her posture rigid with determination. Why target him? The question gnawed at Michael, stirring a quiet unease. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of a storm brewing, one that would unearth deeper biases and force a reckoning. As the sun dipped low, Michael's resolve hardened. He wouldn't let this slide. The days following the disappearance of Michael's Mustang blurred into a haze of frustration and mounting anger. He scoured the neighborhood, piecing together fragments of what had happened. A quick call to the local tow company confirmed his worst fears. The car had been impounded at Karen's request, cited for violating some obscure HOA rule about unsightly vehicles. But Michael's Mustang was pristine, its candy apple red paint shining under the streetlights, far from the rusted relics the rule was meant to target. It didn't add up, and as he dug deeper, the injustice began to reveal itself like cracks in a facade. Karen's campaign against him escalated subtly at first. Notes appeared in his mailbox, anonymous warnings about maintaining community standards, each one laced with an undercurrent of disdain. Michael noticed how she'd linger near his property, her gaze lingering longer than necessary, as if appraising not just the car but him, his presence in the neighborhood itself. Whispers circulated at HOA gatherings, where Karen held court, painting Michael as an outsider who didn't quite fit the mold. Neighbors who'd once nodded hello now averted their eyes, caught in the web of her influence. The emotional toll weighed heavy. Michael's nights grew restless, his mind replaying the moment he'd first seen the empty driveway, a void that symbolized something far more profound than stolen property. As weeks turned into months, the stakes rose. Michael discovered emails from Karen to the HOA board, demanding stricter enforcement, her words dripping with veiled accusations that hinted at deeper prejudices. Assumptions about who belonged and who didn't, rooted in unspoken biases that festered in such enclosed communities. He felt the isolation acutely, the way it chipped away at his sense of security, turning his home into a place of siege. Friends advised him to let it go, but the fire in his chest grew, fueled by memories of similar slights he'd endured before, echoes of entitlement that dismissed people like him without a second thought. The tension peaked when Michael confronted the impound lot, only to face bureaucratic walls. Fees piling up, paperwork lost in the shuffle, all while Karen's smug certainty seemed to permeate every obstacle. He hired a private investigator on a whim, uncovering a pattern. Karen had targeted others before, always those who didn't match her narrow ideal of the perfect neighbor. The revelations hit like waves, each one building emotional pressure, stirring a mix of rage and sorrow. Michael's hands trembled as he reviewed grainy footage of the tow truck arriving, Karen standing watch from her porch, arms crossed in triumph. It wasn't just about the Mustang anymore. It was a fight against the invisible barriers of prejudice that allowed such acts to go unchecked. With every dead end, the injustice deepened, pushing Michael toward a bold decision that could change everything. But would the system bend, or would it break him first? The answer loomed, tense and uncertain, as the confrontation edged closer. The courtroom air hung thick with anticipation, a stark contrast to the suburban calm where it all began. Michael stood before the judge, his evidence laid out like battle scars, emails, witness statements, and footage that painted a damning picture of Karen's overreach. The Mustang, still locked away in the impound lot, became the silent centerpiece of the lawsuit, its absence a glaring symbol of the wrongs inflicted. Karen sat across the room, her composure cracking under the scrutiny, as the proceedings unraveled her web of entitlement. Tension soared as the details emerged. Karen's unfounded call to the tow truck, driven by assumptions that Michael's classic car, and by extension Michael himself, didn't belong in her neighborhood. The judge's gavel echoed through moments of revelation, exposing how her actions violated not just HOA bylaws, but broader laws against discriminatory harassment. Michael's heart pounded, the emotional weight of months of isolation crashing down in this pivotal arena. Flashbacks flooded his mind. The empty driveway, the judgmental stares, the subtle ways prejudice had eroded his peace. In a surge of intensity, the turning point arrived when expert testimony highlighted the pattern of bias, linking Karen's behavior to documented cases of selective enforcement in similar communities. The room grew silent, the injustice laid bare as the judge deliberated. Karen's defenses crumbled, her attempts to justify the tow as community protection ringing hollow against the evidence. Michael's victory crystallized in that electric instant. The ruling came down, awarding him not just the return of his Mustang, but substantial damages for emotional distress and wrongful seizure. The sum was staggering, a financial blow that stripped away Karen's veneer of invincibility. As the gavel fell for the final time, a rush of vindication washed over Michael, the climax of his fight against unchecked prejudice reaching its fever pitch. But the true impact was yet to unfold, rippling beyond the courtroom walls. With the lawsuit won, Michael's 1965 Ford Mustang roared back into his driveway, its engine a triumphant hum that drowned out the echoes of injustice. The court had ordered Karen to pay hefty fines and damages, forcing her resignation from the HOA board and igniting a neighborhood-wide review of discriminatory practices. Whispers turned to open discussions, as neighbors reflected on how entitlement like hers had silently perpetuated divisions, allowing biases to flourish unchecked. Michael, though scarred by the ordeal, found a renewed sense of empowerment. His fight had not only reclaimed his prized possession, but also sparked change, inspiring others to challenge similar wrongs. The emotional release was profound. Michael's sleepless nights gave way to a quiet pride, knowing he'd turned personal pain into a broader victory. Karen faded into the background. Her influence diminished, a cautionary tale of how unchecked prejudices could backfire spectacularly. The Mustang, once a target, now stood as a beacon of resilience, its restored glory a testament to perseverance. In the end, this story isn't just about a car or a lawsuit. It's a reminder of the hidden battles fought every day against systemic biases that disguise themselves as rules. Inspired by true events where individuals have sued and won against discriminatory HOA actions, it shows that standing up can dismantle even the most entrenched injustices. What if more of us questioned the Karens in our lives, exposing the prejudices that divide us? Reflect on that. In a world quick to judge, true community begins with empathy and accountability. If this story resonated, like, subscribe, and share your own experiences in the comments. Together, we can drive change.